SSR Hollow Purple Gojo is the second version of Gojo in Phantom Parade. His banner releases on December 6th and leaves on December 27th. He is once again an attacker, but he has the green type this time. He also can deal both cursed and physical damage, both Jujutsu and Taijutsu respectively, that means, and just like SSR Momo, he will also later down the line be added to the standard banner SSR pool. What makes Hollow Purple strong though? Just like the standard Gojo, this one is immune to attacks because of his passive, but also leaves the field after 7 turns. He has a very strong ultimate that targets all enemies and can overall dish out tons of damage, but when he uses it, he immediately leaves the field no matter how many passive turns he has remaining. That's how strong of a nuke his ultimate can actually be. And on top of that, it can even decrease all enemies' ultimate goes, which can be good in specific main bosses. His skill 1 has high chances for a critical hit and applies physical technique damage, while also reducing the enemy damage. His skill 3 also reduces enemy damage, but increases Gojo's break damage, and instead of physical technique damage, does cursed technique damage. Finally, his skill 2 is an amazing tool for a strong DPS, because he can increase the damage one enemy receives while also increasing his own damage for a very good percentage for 2 turns, something that can stack to prepare for the big ultimate hit. Skill 2 also increases the enemy damage, which is a negative for our team, but can be minimized from his other skills. He also uses 1 cursed energy for his skills, something that makes them easily spammable, and he is a very strong attacker and great as a green DPS for tower. To be fair though, he does break some basic game rules, and that is exactly the reason he leaves the field. For his skill upgrade priority, you want to focus on his ultimate and then skill 2, and after that either skill 1 or skill 3, which can depend on the recollection bit you choose to use on him. Overall, the best recollection bits for him are the ones that help his ultimate damage, because we want it to do as much damage as possible, so focusing on attaching him with a curse technique damage boosting bit is extremely helpful and helps with his skill 3 as well, which you could prioritize upgrading over his skill 1 if you have a curse technique damage boosting bit. You can also give him something that boosts either general or combined damage, that can definitely work as well. Just do not give him a physical technique boosting bit, because even though it will help his skill 1, it doesn't really do anything for his ultimate. This character can of course use the same recollection bits as the standard blue type Gojo can, and since they cannot be used in the same formation, you can even use the exact same recollection bit on them and decide which one is better against the specific quest you want to clear. For some specific recollection bit examples, if you want to focus on curse technique damage, you can go with the classic non-standard or Pride, the one with Jogo. The strongest duo when that becomes available with Teen Gojo and Geto. A magnificent stride forward is definitely another option, and the same goes for City Shop and Eat Tour, the recollection bit that I'm pretty certain will be featured in his SSR banner. For combined damage you also have quite a lot of options. You can go with the classic Adult Time or the strongest Quarrel when that becomes available, again with Teen Gojo and Geto as the icon. And for a free-to-play option, you can also go with the one we got from the Gojo event with him solo camping. As far as using an SR recollection bit goes, if you don't have any other option, sure, but at some point you definitely need to replace it with an SSR recollection bit, because for your main DPS you 100% want to use an SSR for the better stats, passive, and most likely multipliers for damage boosting as well. For his best teams, you want to follow some basic formations. You definitely want to use 2 supports alongside him, and then either a third support, a secondary DPS, or a debuffer. And depending on the quest, you might have to use a good backup in case Gojo leaves and you still are not done, and of course you want to deliver more damage. Some of his best formations on release will feature some debuffers, of course, but if you do not have the featured SSR units, you can definitely do without them, do not worry. SR Yaga and Rare Yuki or SR Nanami, and then Movie Zero Geto or Incomplete Domain Megumi can be a great formation for Hollow Purple Gojo. If you do not want to use a debuffer or you don't have one available, because they are both featured SSR units, you can focus on maximizing Gojo's damage. So you can go with either SR Nanami or SR Yaga, then Rare Yuki, SSR Momo if you have her available to you, alongside Hollow Purple, or you can use the SR version of Momo and perhaps Rare Inumaki if you don't have a better buffer. For the double DPS formation, you can use SR Yaga or any other buffer you want, with Rare Yuki of course, who is a very accessible unit, and then SSR Kugisaki, SSR Inumaki, or people like that to help Gojo with overall damage and also stay with your team in the long term. For some other or future options, if you do not want to use Rare Yuki, you can use his SR version. And then for tanks, I wouldn't really say they are optimal. If you have no better options, you can use one, but they're not the best, simply because they cannot help you with maximum damage and Gojo cannot really be hit. They would mostly be there to help your supports survive. For future units that will release and can definitely work with Hollow Purple, SSR Yaga, Teen Geto will be awesome with him, SSR Blue Inumaki, and generally whoever arrives and is either a debuffer or a support can work with Gojo. What Gojo is truly the best though? Global is in chaos mode right now, and I'm certain with so many featured SSR banners, a lot of players are thinking, is this Gojo really better than the standard one I have already invested resources into? Is he better than the upcoming Teen Gojo? Well, first of all, technically he does have a higher damage ceiling than Blue Gojo, but because they are different types, they can both be found to be useful in different content. It's not like Hollow Purple replaces or completely power creeps the standard Gojo. They can't be used in the same formation as I mentioned before, but will still find uses if leveled up and provide more diversity to your account. So you did not waste your resources on one Gojo if you try to go get another one. More Gojo units will of course release, Teen Yellow Gojo pretty soon, and Red Domain Gojo. Same thing essentially applies with them. Overall, Gojo as a character is completely broken in Phantom Parade, all of his units are top tier, so canonically we are following the Jujutsu Kaisen universe. It's definitely noteworthy though for Hollow Purple specifically, if you feel like you want to save for other characters, Teen Gojo for example, or Toji or whoever else, that will come faster on the global server compared to what happened in the Japanese server because we are trying to sync the two, then you can definitely skip Hollow Purple since he will be added to the standard banner SSR pool in the future, an update that technically should also come sooner because of the speedrun that Global gets. And the same will happen with other strong SSR characters like Momo or Incomplete Domain Megumi. So if you are trying to decide between what Gojo is better for you, then I would definitely advise you to take that into consideration because Teen Gojo and Domain Gojo are both limited units, meaning they won't be added to the standard banner, or at least they will take a lot of time if they ever will. And that concludes my full character guide on Hollow Purple Gojo. Hopefully you found it helpful. And if you want to see more Phantom Parade character guides from me, definitely leave a like, I would really appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.